and I'm so proud of you for completing that group project all on your own, for rejecting yourself before he gets the chance to, and for asserting your dominance by opening your own car doors. Do you feel validated enough? Of course you do. So now that we've established your coping mechanisms, let's ride this baby all the way back to the childhood that built up. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You learned to sit with your feelings because nobody sat with you. Your achievements only made you feel seen but never understood. You learned to be low maintenance just so that everyone around you could be comfortable enough. You can't really remember anything wrong enough to be acknowledged, but also not right enough to feel safe. So essentially, nobody abandoned you, but they did not fully arrive either. I am not talking about your childhood simply to empower you to point fingers or find culprits. Or maybe I am. But for you to understand that you are not engaging in these familiar patterns simply because you're unique or they are a part of your personality. It is very easy to fall into the welcoming arms of victim mindset if one neglects the source and the future repercussions of their patterns. That was merely a much needed look in retrospect for you to understand that all of these patterns have a very solid foundation, which in most cases you could not influence at all. Just a little disclaimer before I officially begin the video. You all cannot expect me to memorize a whole script, so I will refer to my script time in between, so do not mind that. Thanks to your use of social media as a well maintained mirror to all your insecurities, choices, and lifestyle, such platforms now do not only affect your audience or your followers as you intend them to, instead, they directly shape your self concept. With that in mind, let's now watch a few short clips.
And there's nothing, there's nothing. दिल तुझे ढूंढे तेरे Get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs. तेरे इश्क दा जो तेरे वीरों अज मेरी कहानी मैं सूफी.
What you just watched was not just an influencer preaching hyperindependence or independence. It was simply your fear presented to you in an aesthetically pleasing manner to stroke your ego. Notice how these reels rarely talked about real lived experiences. They focus on anticipated reactions, on how people might respond. Of course, no one is obligated to share anything personal about their life online. But when a public influencer portrays hyperindependence as a way of protecting yourself from possible future abuse, it becomes concerning. Because the second person being referred to in all of these videos, they are imaginary. They are never given the chance to show up or respond. The assumption that they will be bothered if you rely on them is always in place. So you don't only protect yourself from getting hurt, you also make sure that connection never really had a chance. Essentially, you don't just avoid pain, you eliminate the possibility of ever being cared for. This is exactly where this problem leads to you only ending up with emotionally unavailable men. Buckle up because at this stage you are no longer just hyper independent. You now carry the sole responsibility of your partner on your shoulders. They want you to put their comforts first no matter what. Your problems simply exist while theirs turn into full blown tantrums real quick. The emotional dependence is always one sided. And the worst part, you are the enabler of the physical, mental, and emotional expectations they continue to put upon you. Because it was you in the first place who always made sure that the scale is never balanced due to your tendencies towards hyperindependence. It was you who had already decided the limit for how well one can treat you. It was you who conditioned him to not fully invest. This is what we call the intimacy ceiling. This ceiling usually forms in one's childhood, as we talked about before. In your mind, it usually sounds like this much closeness is okay, but beyond that, it's dangerous. Hence, your hyperindependence does not just harm you, but also your partner. Have you noticed how all of these distorted beliefs very conveniently take away your partner's agency and their expectations from the relationship? You constantly put them in a position where they have absolutely no space in the relationship because your unhealed and unidentified trauma takes up the whole room and more. So, even if one does not subscribe to the belief that you attract what you are, the focus can instead be shifted to the fact that in relationships, you actively shape your partner and get back what you put in. These high walls are even more visible when your partner dares to perform a grand gesture. The insecurity kicks in. Maybe I don't deserve this. Why would he even do it? You get irritated and you push back. And it's not just you. Look at the stories we've been raised on and the media we're fed. Let's look closely at the trope of a successful woman in movies and TV shows. She's powerful, self sufficient, and independent. But she's almost always alone. She does not marry, or her relationships don't work out, or she starts off as a widow itself. It's almost as if independence and relationships can't coexist, as if independence requires you to sabotage intimacy. So, somewhere along the way, you start internalizing this idea that to be strong, you have to be alone, and to be loved, you have to be less. This mindset is then fostered by those around such hyper independent people. Having no needs is socially rewarded simply because it completely frees those around you who you can depend upon. Others' comforts come at the cost of your alienation. In return, you simply get reinforcement dolled up in praises. She doesn't need anyone, becomes your social identity. It also becomes a free pass for people to abandon you in times of need without second thoughts from even you yourself. Hence, they don't question your hyper independence, instead, they celebrate it. But one should never overlook the fact that the most dangerous patterns are the ones that get rewarded. Ultimately, you keep performing independence without realizing that it's costing you connection. The fact that you stuck around till this part of the video is in itself a step you consciously took towards healing. I have no interest in giving you specific advices or routines and claim that they can 100% heal you. If you have identified your hyperindependence as a problem, then the only thing left to do is to become more observant and self aware. Consciously observe your patterns. Remind yourself that these faulty patterns are not a part of your personality, rather, mere outcomes of situations you had no control over. Just because they feel familiar does not mean they are home. Once that mindset is in place, simply attempt to differentiate between thoughts and actions influenced by these faulty patterns and the decisions that you took with the assurance that you can need people and still be strong. Because ultimately, healing is not becoming dependent, it's feeling safe enough to not want to do everything alone.